At exactly 5:17 a.m. on June 21st, the quiet neighborhood of Mount Vernon, New York was abruptly awakened by an unmarked convoy from the FBI. No sirens, no flashing lights, just a suffocating silence and one clear objective: the house once owned by Janice Combs, the biological mother of hip-hop icon Sean Diddy Combs. Armed with an emergency search warrant, agents didn't bother knocking. They knew exactly what they were looking for. Beneath the wooden floorboards of the basement, aided by ground-penetrating radar and 3D cameras, they uncovered a hidden suitcase. Inside were tapes and memory cards, evidence believed to hold the power to shake the very foundations of Hollywood. But that was only the beginning. As the air grew thick with a foul, unmistakable stench, the wooden panels were finally pried open. Buried in the cold, damp earth, surrounded by bloodstains too old to identify, lay a grim sight: multiple corpses, tightly wrapped in plastic, partially decomposed, stacked atop one another. An independent source confirmed at least 3 bodies were found, one of them a minor. When the first photo leaked online, grainy, yet clear enough to horrify, a single chilling question began echoing across every forum: could this be the final secret Diddy had buried, right beneath his own mother's feet? This raid wasn't a random operation. It was meticulously planned based on insider intelligence, and this time, the FBI wasn't leaving empty-handed. Immediately afterward, an emergency meeting was convened at the FBI's New York headquarters, attended by representatives from the Department of Justice, the Federal Financial Crimes Task Force, and criminal psychology experts. Photos from the scene revealed that the body bags had not been dumped hastily but arranged in a disturbingly deliberate, almost ritualistic manner. Next to the bodies, agents recovered a half-burned leather notebook containing scattered characters and drawings of symmetrical circular symbols, eerily similar to those used in underground cult rituals. A ritual crime specialist from Quantico, after a preliminary analysis, described the notebook as a potential game-changer for the entire Diddy investigation. If the victims can be linked to the rumored secret parties within the entertainment industry, this case would no longer be personal. It would uncover a much broader network of organized crime. That same day, Twitter erupted with hashtags like #BasementBodies and #DiddyCoverup. A resurfaced video of Diddy stating, "Everything I have comes from sacrifices no one dares to speak of," was picked apart and analyzed. The public was divided. Some demanded justice for the victims, while others believed Diddy was being politically targeted or sabotaged from within the music industry. Adding to the tension, a former employee from the real estate firm that managed the Combs family property revealed that the basement had been renovated and reinforced in 2014, coinciding with the disappearance of a young dancer named Kiara B. in New York, who was rumored to be affiliated with Diddy's event team. Her missing person case had been closed due to lack of evidence, but the recent discovery of a small body matching her height and bone structure has now prompted the FBI to reopen the investigation, this time under the lens of premeditated homicide. The FBI is currently seeking DNA samples from Kiara B's family for confirmation. In a highly unusual move, major news outlets like CNN, ABC, and even Fox News ceased live coverage from the scene, opting instead to reference pre-approved news segments. This has only fueled public suspicion. Is there a hidden force trying to control the narrative and scope of the investigation? What began as a financial crime probe may be unraveling something far darker. What began as an investigation into the financial assets of a high-profile entertainer has now unraveled into a disturbing web of ritualistic crimes, allegations of organized murder, and secrets buried, literally, beneath the home of the suspect's own mother. Each layer investigators peel back reveals a deeper horror, inching America closer to a truth it may not be ready to confront. But the machinery of justice is already in motion, and if early indications hold true, this case could become the most explosive criminal scandal in the history of American entertainment. That very afternoon, an anonymous insider from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office confirmed that search warrants are being prepared for at least 2 more properties connected to the Combs family, including a luxury penthouse reportedly used for private gatherings in the late 2000s. Once emblems of wealth and prestige, these properties are now being re-examined as potential crime scenes, each a link in what the public is calling Diddygate. The storm has grown so intense that human rights activists are calling for an independent congressional investigation. citing concerns over potential collusion between law enforcement and elite circles to suppress serious human rights abuses. The hashtag Justice for the Forgotten is now trending, spearheaded by independent journalists and whistleblowers who've long spoken out about abuse within the entertainment world. Janice Combs, once presumed to be detached from the investigation, is now emerging as a key witness. A former housekeeper who worked in her home from 2015 to 2017 has come forward through legal counsel, claiming to have witnessed unidentified men entering and leaving the basement late at night, and noted strange surveillance devices embedded behind the walls. Her testimony is currently under review, but if validated, it could dismantle any remaining belief that Janice was unaware of the atrocities buried beneath her own home. As shockwaves ripple through the public and social media descends into chaos, one chilling question hangs over everything. If this is what was found in Diddy's mother's house alone, what else could still be hidden, in places shielded by fame, money, and silence? 3 corpses. Ritual symbols. A crumbling music empire. According to a senior FBI agent, the next phase of the investigation promises to be darker than anything the American public has ever imagined. This is part 2, the hunt through the names time tried to forget. As the news of the basement discovery spread like wildfire, the nation began asking not just who the victims were, but why no one had ever come forward to identify them. Preliminary autopsy results revealed that all 3 individuals were present at events linked to Diddy's entertainment network. Specifically the rumored private parties between 2008 and 2013, the height of his power in the music industry. One of the victims is now believed to be Samantha Lee, a freelance model whose disappearance was previously dismissed as unrelated, until now. Samantha Lee, a freelance model who briefly appeared in a Bad Boy Records music video in 2010, had her missing persons case closed just 4 months after she vanished. Another instance labeled insufficient criminal evidence, a phrase used far too often in cases tied to the entertainment industry. She was last seen at a private event in the Hamptons, accompanied by a group of stylists and assistants from Diddy's production team. Despite her family's efforts to bring attention to her disappearance over the past 14 years, the media remained silent and local authorities found no sign of foul play. Now, that case is being reopened by the FBI as part of a wider federal criminal investigation. While Samantha's identity is nearly confirmed, the other 2 bodies have yet to be officially named. One is believed to be a male, with a previously fractured jawbone, an injury that matches details in an unpublished medical record from a Bronx hospital. The patient was a street dancer allegedly assaulted after trying to exit a secret party circle. That record mysteriously vanished, and police at the time wrote it off as a personal dispute. The FBI, however, now sees it as part of a disturbing pattern. A senior profiler from the Bureau's Federal Case Unit commented, "We're no longer looking for isolated victims. We're following a consistent pattern: young, vulnerable individuals with informal ties to the entertainment industry, disappearing without a trace." New witnesses are beginning to emerge. One former stage assistant who worked a private party in 2011 at a studio in Los Angeles has submitted a recorded statement to the legal team representing the victims. They described a hidden, lower-level room with magnetic locks and infrared cameras, accessible only by a special keycard held by Diddy or high-level staff. That chilling description mirrors the design of the basement beneath Janice Combs' home, leading investigators to believe this space wasn't just a hiding place, it may have been the nerve center of a secretive, long-running operation. Online, an old photo from 2010 has gone viral. It shows a dimly lit gathering with masked guests, where users claim to spot Diddy, a young Justin Bieber, and even a blurred figure resembling Oprah in the background. Though the image remains unverified, it's fanned the flames of suspicion. How many celebrities knew something, and how many chose to stay silent? That silence has forced the FBI to expand the scope of their investigation. According to a leaked internal report, over the past 15 years, at least 27 missing persons or suspicious death cases have had indirect links to events financed or organized by Diddy's entertainment network. Of those, only 3 led to criminal charges, all of which were eventually dropped due to lack of evidence. In response, human rights organizations have launched Project Echo, an online database cataloging disappearances potentially tied to the entertainment world. Their homepage displays Samantha Lee's photo beside two unidentified victims, accompanied by a haunting message: "If you've had contact with anyone connected to this network, speak out before it's too late." As public pressure intensifies, celebrities once closely associated with Diddy are being dragged into the fallout. Archived videos, overseas trips, and forgotten photographs are now under scrutiny, not as tabloid gossip, but as possible pieces of a much darker puzzle. Reports now indicate that a former bodyguard of Diddy has entered witness protection, allegedly in possession of guest lists from at least 5 highly restricted parties held at properties in Georgia, Miami, and a secluded villa in Turks and Caicos. But this is only the surface. A leaked internal email from a major record label has uncovered vague financial links between Diddy and a network of art-related charities, organizations once known for funding international cultural exchange programs. Investigators now suspect these programs may have been manipulated as channels to recruit or control victims under the guise of opportunity. As investigators begin to connect the dots, what's forming is no longer a case of personal misconduct, it's the architecture of a hidden system. A deeply entrenched underground structure protected by wealth, fame, and decades of strategic silence. The once forgotten names are now central to what may become one of the most significant criminal investigations in entertainment history. And if true justice prevails, those once idolized at the summit of celebrity culture may finally have to face the truth they worked so hard to bury. Part 3. The heavy phone call and the final pieces of the puzzle. Just 2 days after the FBI released their preliminary forensic findings from Janice Combs's basement, a cryptic phone call, lasting under 4 minutes, between a satellite phone and Diddy's legal representative sent the entire case spiraling in a new direction. Though Diddy's voice was not on the line, what was said chilled federal agents. "We used to keep everything clean. If he talks, more people are going to the grave." The recording was immediately encrypted and marked as classified, but word of its existence leaked, raising one burning question: is Diddy just a puppet, or the architect of something far more sinister? That very day, Reuben Tate, a high-profile federal agent renowned for dismantling an entertainment-linked money laundering network in 2017, was reassigned from Chicago to lead the investigation in New York. Backed by a hand-picked team, Tate's new mission was clear: uncover the connections between celebrity influence, political immunity, and underground financial systems. All roads pointed to one destination: a private estate in the Bahamas, owned by an offshore shell company tied to Diddy's former tour manager, active between 2006 to 2009. Satellite surveillance showed dozens of unregistered private jet landings at unconventional hours, fueling long-standing rumors of a second island for the entertainment elite. Until now, its existence was dismissed as conspiracy, but newly obtained aerial images revealed structures resembling covert film studios. At the center of the island, a lion head statue, identical to a tattoo once visible on the back of a now-missing celebrity once closely linked to Diddy. That figure disappeared from public life in 2021 and deleted all digital footprints. While speculation spread like wildfire, the FBI followed the hard evidence. A bank statement, anonymously sent to federal agents, revealed over $11 million withdrawn through crypto wallets and cashed out via anonymous ATMs across the Dominican Republic, Nigeria, and Malta. The account had been opened using the passport of a man presumed dead, a dancer who performed during Diddy's 2012 live tour. As the final puzzle pieces fell into place, a dark ecosystem emerged: rental homes in New Jersey used as fronts, fake identities originating from West Africa, and casting events disguised as legitimate modeling calls. And at the heart of it all, Diddy himself. Once celebrated as the undisputed king of hip-hop, he now stands at the center of what may be one of the darkest secrets ever unearthed in modern pop culture. Then came the pivotal morning of June 21st. A leaked clip from the internal surveillance system at MDC prison surfaced, capturing a haunting scene: Diddy, eyes hollow, face tight with exhaustion, murmuring to himself for 47 straight minutes. Though there was no audio, a lip-reading expert analyzed the footage and identified the phrase Diddy mouthed over and over again: "My son, don't let them take mom." This wasn't the voice of a man simply grappling with charges. It was a warning, a plea. Suddenly, the case shifted. Investigators began to reframe their entire line of inquiry. The goal was no longer just to prosecute a celebrity. It had grown into a deeper pursuit of the shadowy system behind a once celebrated pop culture empire. Part 4. Faces that can no longer stay hidden. Within 48 hours of the footage leak, headlines exploded. But behind the scenes, a different picture was forming. The FBI turned its attention to individuals once believed to be on the periphery. First, Quincy Taylor Brown, Diddy's adopted son. Known for his poised, intellectual image, Quincy had distanced himself from the hip-hop spotlight for over a year, going nearly silent on social media and avoiding all mention of his godfather's legal crisis. However, leaked intel revealed Quincy once owned an old BlackBerry device thought destroyed. In reality, it had been hidden in a rented storage unit registered under a former production assistant from Diddy's 2010 team. Seized during a quiet early morning operation, the phone revealed disturbing evidence, hundreds of encrypted messages, behind-the-scenes photos from confidential events, and audio files. One capturing a woman's panicked screams, a man shouting "lock the door," and Quincy whispering, "This is getting way out of hand." But the investigation didn't stop there. The FBI expanded its focus to two powerhouse figures long tied to Diddy, Oprah Winfrey and Ellen DeGeneres. Oprah, a public leader of the #MeToo movement, had remained eerily silent on the Diddy scandal for 6 months. Ellen, whose talk show once reached tens of millions, abruptly left the U.S. and shut down her Los Angeles studio without explanation. A former staffer claimed Ellen kept a handwritten contract with Diddy that no one else was allowed to see. While public scrutiny intensified, the FBI issued emergency subpoenas to 3 individuals who had attended Diddy's Grammy after-parties. One, an acclaimed fashion designer, had vanished, his Manhattan apartment emptied, surveillance systems stripped. His last known location, boarding a flight to Monaco under a diplomatic passport from a Central American country. Inside the FBI's Manhattan headquarters, white boards filled with webs of connections, Diddy linked to media conglomerates, charitable trusts, shell corporations, and offshore production firms. But one transaction stood out. A $2.8 million wire transfer from a Bahamas-based investment firm to a post-production studio in Vancouver, one that had worked on Diddy's music videos while quietly hiring unknown actors via Craigslist. At the same time, audio from a bugged conversation in Diddy's childhood home in Harlem captured 2 men, one saying, "He knows more than we thought," referring to Quincy. Preliminary voice matching suggested one of the speakers was a legal assistant from Diddy's 2018 defense team. This revelation forced Quincy to testify before a federal grand jury under protective custody. He was not charged, but his appearance shook the public. Was Quincy the silent witness, the thread unraveling the entire cover-up? Or was he the very person Diddy tried to shield with that haunted stare in prison? During the 6-hour closed-door session, no media, no recordings, Quincy reportedly turned over audio files from 2016 implicating multiple singers, producers, and even a former government official. That night, the hashtag Quincy Knows Everything soared to the top of global trends. Law firms began dropping Diddy from their client lists. The protective wall built over a decade started to crack, revealing the faces long hidden in the shadows. Part 5. The Curtain of Deceit. When the protector becomes the accomplice on the ground floor of the FBI's New York headquarters, a high-security operations meeting convened. The conversation had moved far beyond Diddy himself. The focus was now on the protectors, the elite, influential figures who concealed, facilitated, and benefited from the machinery that enabled him to escape scrutiny for over 2 decades. This was no longer just a story about a fallen music mogul, it had become the unmasking of a system designed to keep truth in the dark. And now, that system was beginning to collapse. The investigation originally centered on Diddy has expanded into a large-scale organized crime case spanning decades, protected by a powerful network of lawyers, former law enforcement officials, media figures, and fraudulent charities. A series of shocking findings has come to light: human remains and physical evidence. 6 skeletons were discovered beneath reinforced concrete in the basement of Diddy's mother's former home. Signs of restraint and torture were evident, and a restored audio clip revealed a man pleading not to be taken back, allegedly implicating Diddy directly. This was not just a hidden room, it was a meticulously constructed crime scene. Cover-up system. Former bodyguard Marcus Block Williams testified about cleaning up a scene in 2007 after a young woman died under suspicious circumstances. Other former assistants and crew members submitted videos, hard drives, and statements detailing abuse, secret recordings, and the silencing of victims. Legal and financial evidence. Internal financial records and legal documents uncovered links between Diddy and shell corporations, PR teams, law firms, and nonprofits used to conceal criminal activity. A leaked NDA signed by Diddy, Ellen DeGeneres, and a Netflix executive reportedly settles a scandal involving a minor. A $2.8 million transfer to a Canadian studio that hired unknown actors via Craigslist also raised flags. Key witness Quincy Taylor Brown, Diddy's adopted son, was forced to testify before a federal grand jury. An old BlackBerry phone tied to Quincy revealed encrypted messages, disturbing audio files, and images from alleged secret events. One recording captured a woman's screams and Quincy saying, "This is getting way out of hand." International network, charity programs, rehab centers, and artist training facilities linked to Cohn's enterprises appear to have been used to facilitate trafficking. These institutions often closed, faced lawsuits, or disappeared shortly after receiving questionable funds. Real estate linked to disappearances was sold quickly and below market value. Shift in public opinion. A Media Justice Institute poll showed that 68% of Americans no longer believe celebrities are innocent when accused at this level. 74% supported full disclosure of individuals who signed NDAs with Diddy-affiliated entities. Conclusion: what was buried under the floorboards wasn't just bone, it was memory, forgotten pain, and evidence of a system that allowed power to obscure justice. Now, the truth is surfacing, and the public is no longer willing to let fame and wealth silence the victims. As the investigation deepens, the last thing Diddy may be able to buy is forgiveness. Thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe and comment to see what happens next.